Welcome to some live Kajabi tutorial training. Very excited to bring you this tutorial today. It has been asked for many times. Now, what I am talking about is using radio buttons on your checkout to give more than one price. Now, let me zoom in and show you what I'm talking about. I am talking about adding a section that looks like this to your checkout, where you can have not just one, but you can have two different options on your checkout. Now, Kajabi Payments is coming, and there is beta testing of Kajabi Payments. If you are in the US, I don't know if this is going to be one of the features that they will offer through Kajabi Payments. But, for people like myself in Australia and in many other parts of the world, or those who are not up the top of the list of testing for Kajabi Payments, we won't get to find out for a while. And like I said, this has been one of my most requested tutorials. Now, to do this, to put this onto your page, to have these radio buttons, it's not just as simple as turning on, an option and ticking a box in Kajabi. Unfortunately, it does require a bit of code. And thankfully, the Kajabi community is very lucky that Jodee Peevor from the Kajabi Unlocked Club supplied the Kajabi community through the Facebook group with the code to be able to do this. However, code being code, which is not the most fun thing if you're a bit code allergic, there are quite a few steps involved in updating that code to make it work on your site. And that is why people have been asking me to do this tutorial, because I've used it and love it on my checkouts and use it quite a lot. This is an example of using it with coaching, where I've got the option of 4 calls or a single call. So even if you give someone the link just for a single call, they'll see that there is a 4 call option. And then when someone clicks going, oh, actually, I don't want 4 calls, I want a single call. When they click on that, it's actually going through to the checkout for the single call. Hopefully it's going to work if I click on it. Actually, no, it's not going to work because this is not a preview. It's not a live link. So let me just jump into an actual preview so I can show you what that looks like. So yeah, being able to do this means that you can do things like monthly and annual payments. You can do pay in full versus a payment plan. You can even use this for things like different currencies. Like you might have like UK pounds or Australian dollars and US dollars. Like there's different ways that you can use this, and it can be really helpful. So what happens, you might just notice I've clicked on that. What I was actually doing is clicking on a link to a different checkout. Although it kind of looks the same, this is now the checkout for the single call. And then it's got this option now saying book 4 calls and save. So that, if I click onto this one, is actually going to flick me back to the checkout for the 4 calls. But it's not really obvious that that's what it's doing. It just looks like there are 2 different options. And we've got these images here that are making it look like that is the option that you have chosen. So I am going to take you through step by step. I'm going to show you how you can set this up in your own Kajabi. We're going to start from scratch. I'm going to go through the things that you need to have set up. And if you want to grab this code so you can follow along, I have put the link to the Facebook post in the Kajabi group down below in the comments, so you can click on it. You can grab Jodee's code. Thank you so much, Jodee. It is a super awesome code, and you will be able to go and grab that and follow along as I'm going through this tutorial, so I can show you exactly how you can set this up on your own Kajabi site. You ready? Let's jump in. Now, if you do have any questions as I am going through, then please do just let me know. Now, I've made a little checklist, so remember all the things that we need to get set up as we go. Now, you will need to do a little bit of prep in advance. That's why there are quite a few steps involved in this, which is why the tutorial has been a little bit outstanding, because there are lots of things to do. We're going to kind of go down the list in order to set everything up. So before you get started, I would recommend that you get your checkouts, your 2 options set up. So as I mentioned, you're going to basically flick from one checkout to another. So it's not like you're going into the checkout and you're adding an extra price. You're actually still creating the 2 separate offers. We're just displaying them together. So if you have a payment plan and if you have a pay in full, create those first. And what we will need is the URL link for each offer. And by URL link, this is in the back end of the offer. This is the link. So get the link for each of those offers once you've set it up. Don't worry that we haven't done this yet. We're going to do that next. So get the link for your 2 offers and note that down somewhere. The next thing that we will want to do is go and get the check mark icons. Now, in Jodee's code, she does actually give you some icons, and you can use her icons and link through to them if you want. But a lot of people actually want to customize it and make it their own color. So I've actually got a little Canva template for you. Again, if you want the link to that, I will put that in the comments to this, and you can go and get this and customize these to your own brand as suits. So we've just made this our purple, but you will be able to then customize that. So if you want a different color to the ones that come with the code, grab this Canva template, let me know, leave a note in the comments, and I'll be able to give you a link to that so you can go and grab the template and get the icons. So next step is we need to get the icons, update the color if you want. Do make sure when you do use this template in Canva when you export it, so change this to your color. So let's just say you wanted to make them, I don't know, pink. If that was your color, we can actually go change them all to pink. Whatever the case is that you want to change them to. When you export them, and I think you will need Canva Pro for this when you download them, make sure that you do make them a transparent background. They will need to be transparent for this. So that's just one little tip. I'm just going to undo that, get my purple back. So you need to get those icons and have them saved on your computer. And the next step, once we've gone through this, is I'm going to show you where to save them so that you can access them, because we will need to get the URL for where those icons are saved on your Kajabi site. Now, you'll also need the code. So do make sure you go to that Facebook post from Jodee Peevor, grab the code and implement the code, like copy that into a notepad or something so that you've got that somewhere. There are 3 separate pieces of code. So we firstly will have the settings for the header, we have the settings for the footer, and then we have the individual code that we put on each offer. And I've highlighted the bits, and we're going to go through step by step where you actually change and customize that. So you make it say exactly what you want it to say, and you link it to the right offer, and you have those beautiful icons showing up. So the first step is pretty easy. We're going to come after we have added the code to each checkout. Then we just do one little change on the offer as well, just to make it display nicely. So first step 1 is we're going to go and add this code. So what you need to do is grab this code here, this style code that we have got here, and we are going to add this to our settings. So I want to add it into our settings. So we're going to go to that first. So we'll go to settings and site details, and we go down to site details, and we have our header page script. Now, actually, I don't think I have that in this one. So we want to, oops, hang on, I've copied the wrong thing. Hang on one moment. I need to copy the right code. So we need to copy this style code. Hopefully this will work. Okay. So I want to, yes. Okay. So we're putting this in here, this style code. Make sure you include these style brackets. It needs to have all of it in here. And then we also need to go next to the footer tracking code. I have a feeling that maybe in the checkout area, it might not be under settings. Let me go and double check. I didn't double check that one before we started, of course, because I'm doing live. And yes, I've got someone with me said, excited to have different buttons at checkout. Take it that it toggles the amount in the payment box rather than different checkouts. No, it looks like it's toggling. It's actually switching between checkouts, but it makes it look like it's toggling. So we need the footer scripts, which, damn it for me not checking earlier. I'm going to have to use my brain here. I think it might be under checkout settings, the footer scripts. Please be under checkout settings. Footer tracking code. Okay, awesome. Actually, I'm wondering if the header tracking code might need to go in here. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm going to confirm that, and I will come back to you. This is my first live video in about a year, if not longer. So please forgive me if I don't get it 100% perfect. Okay, so we've got that in here. And just to be sure, I'm going to put the header tracking code not in the head section, because this says the head section of every checkout, whereas what I've done before is I've put that in the head. Oh, no, it is meant to be in checkout settings. See, I just needed to read. So I'm going to go and take it out of the other area. Yeah, so this is the header for the checkout, not the header for the entire site. So I'm going to copy that one into the header for here. So this part you only need to do once. Once you have done this once, then that's it. You don't need to do it again. So this header and footer tracking code, do this and then you can make 100 checkouts and you don't need to go back and add that. That's a one-time thing. So I'm just going to go back into my settings just so I don't forget and go and take the other one out of the site details. And these instructions are, Jodee has got them in there, but just sometimes just having the having a video walkthrough is just really helpful especially when there's lots of little steps. All right, so that part is done. Step 1 and step 2 is completed. So we have our checkout settings, header tracking code, and footer tracking code saved. So now we've got to start on the complicated bit. So firstly, make sure you go and get those URL links for each offer. I should have done this before, but I didn't. So this will show me it's a perfect opportunity to do it. Okay, so I've got my 2 different offers here. I've got Pay in Full and a 3-pay offer. And another cool thing that Kajabi did, which actually was thank you to Jodee at the Kajabi conference in May/June, is you can now get the link for your offers straight off the offers page rather than having to go in and then get links. So that will make it a lot easier. So we're going to go and grab our 2 links. So this is for the Pay in Full, and this is where having these links. Having like somewhere to keep all this information will be really helpful. So we're going to go Pay in Full and we're going to put that link here. And we're going to come back to our offers and get the 3-pay and get the link for that one. And we're going to come back here and we're going to do 3 times pay. So now we have these so we can cut and paste them later. So we've got our icons in Canva. I've already gone through and downloaded these, but if you do want to use these icons, go and grab them. Let me know in the comments and I can send you a link to those, and then go and grab them on Canva, update them to be, whichever color that you want, or you will be able to use the original icons in Jodee's code. But once you have them, we need to actually put them onto your Kajabi site. So the next step is we are going to go and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can put graphics/images onto your Kajabi site so that you can use them later. So way number 1, and this is the way I always used to do before, I did the website page way. It's a little bit of a workaround, but sometimes I find it easier. And I'm going to show you in case you're someone who's like, yeah, that seems much easier to me. So you can choose which way that you want to do it. Go and create an email. And this is not going to be sent out. This is just so that you can put the images. Go new email campaign and choose a broadcast. And you want to use the classic editor. And we can call this checkout. Oh, I've already got one. I'm just going to call this image assets. I've already got one for that. Okay, image assets number 2. I've obviously gone through this a couple of times, showing people how to do it. So we're going to come in here. This is not going to go out, so we don't need to worry about adding anything in here. We're pretty much just going to add information in just to make it save, essentially. So we can just say this is test. And then we want to actually go and add the images into this email. So we'll go in and add the images. So we're going to add the check in the circle one first. I've also given you just a plain check in case you prefer that as an option. And then we're going to go and add our second image. And that's the empty circle. So this is way number 1. Now, the difference between this way and the next way that I'm going to show you is it's basically it puts all of the code that you need rather than just the URL that you need. And you'll see what I mean when I get to the actual code. So click onto this source code area and go into it. And this image source equals, and Jodee marks, whatever. They're not called Jodee marks, whatever they're called, like speech marks. That entire code, including the bracket, is what you need to use that image elsewhere in Kajabi. Jodee's code actually does include this image source up to here, and we can just replace just this part of the code if you want to, and not worry about the brackets and things like that. And I'll show you how to get the URL if you put on a page. But sometimes if you're going, oh, I'm not sure what code, this bit from bracket image source equals, and it has a website address through to this bracket is, a way that you can get that. So I'm not gonna do it this way. I'm gonna show you the second way to do it. So that is a way that I've been able to use. If you ever want to use an image in a text box or in the middle of a text box or somewhere else in Kajabi where there's no option to add image, then that's a way that you can get the image. The other option is to actually go to a landing page and create an image asset page. Hello, Camilla. Lovely to have you here. And I'm not sure who the other person is that's with us. Facebook user, you're coming up as. So I'll just say, hello, Facebook user. All right, so we're going to go into our pages and we can do the same thing essentially. You basically, every time you save an image onto Kajabi, it's saving it somewhere and it's giving it basically a URL address. And putting it in an email or on a page doesn't matter. You're still getting that URL. It's just how you actually discover what the URL is to actually use it. Do I have, here we go, pics and assets. This is a page that I have made earlier. So it's just, this is, it should be unpublished. I should make this unpublished. This is my test site, so I'm not too worried about it. But you can just go into this section and just add an image block. So we're going to add an image block. Where are we? Where's an image block? And just add the image that you want to add in here. It doesn't matter any of the settings. And again, we'll go through that same check in circle. And I'll only add one of them because it's the same regardless of what you do. But basically, we just want that HTTP Kajabi storefronts address. Actually, no, I will add them both because I just realized I didn't copy the address and we need the address from the other one. So that's one. And then we'll just go and duplicate that and add the next one, which is just this empty circle. And when you go into Canva, you might notice that the circle is a bit like off-centered, but that's because the circle is exactly the same position as the check because the check goes up a little bit. So if you had this centered, it would look like a bit off on the checkout page. So don't change that, leave it the same. All right, so we've got that one uploaded. And now what we need to do is get the URL, like the address for these so that we can use them elsewhere in Kajabi, i.e. on our checkout page. So we need to go preview. And in order to get to the URL, we can just right click and open image in a new tab. And that is going to open this up. And this is the URL. This whole giant thing here is the URL that we want. So we can copy that and pop that onto our list here. So we want to get the checkmark icon saved and then we'll pop them in here. So this one is the with check. And then we've got the address and then we'll say circle only. Then we'll get the one for the circle only. So again, we'll go to it, right click, open image in a new tab, and it will open the image here. And we can copy that and pop that down on our list. So let me know if you're following along, if you have any questions as we are going through this. All right. So we've got basically our setup ready to go. Now we have to copy the code for the actual checkout and then copy these bits and pieces that we've been collecting onto the code. So next step is to save this. It's already saved. And we're going to go into our actual offers and start building out this code inside the offers. Now, the reason that you need the URLs for these is because we need to add them into the code so the code knows where to fetch that information from. So we're going to come back into our offers and we're going to just pick one of them to do first. It doesn't really matter. We'll just, okay, we'll do the pay in full one first. So we need to get the code, like the code for the checkout page. Now, as I showed you before, when we have this code here, this is the actual code, this part here. And then the parts where I've highlighted, these are the parts we need to change and update. So name, price, where the first URL, what the URL link for that is, the icon, and then the name and the price. So I'm going to go through step by step. I'm going to do it bit by bit so we can go down and I'm going to show you how to do each part of that. So first what we need to do is copy the code. We need to go into edit checkout in order to make this work. And where this code goes, you might be like, oh, I don't even know. There is no code place on here. We actually have to put it at the top of your content box on your page. So when you go into page content, you'll see checkout description. So that is where you're actually going to put this code. But we're going to put it under the source code area. So you're actually not going to see it showing up except in this source code area. I'm going to cut and paste this in. I'm going to go, okay. And once we do that and press save, got to press save like 100 times in order to get this to show up. And we'll see that one of those things doesn't work because this is actually going to Jodee's original one. And sometimes when you copy it off the Facebook group, the icon link gets a bit cut off, and that's why this one isn't working. So we're going to update that anyway. We're going to put our new pretty purple icons on there. Now, the reason I'm showing you what this looks like is because we will need to change. Maybe we don't want to have it saying program, or we don't want to have it saying price there, and we may not want to say monthly or say 50% with annual. The prices are probably different. These are all things that we actually need to update in the code. So that's where it can get a little bit hairy. So now that we can see that there, we've got to go back into the source code and bit by bit go through updating those things. So, if this is helpful, having this where you can see it this way, let me know, and I'm happy to share this doc with you so you can see where we're going to go. But the first thing we'll update is the name, what we're going to put instead of program. So we're going to come back in here and we need to look for the word program. And so maybe we want to say, instead of program, choose your pricing option. And then price, we might want to add, like particularly for those of us who aren't in the US, I always make sure if I'm charging in US dollars to make it super clear that it is US dollars. So you might want to go USD or something along those lines. So you're being really clear. So this is right up the top, this here. So once I stop that and we'll save that, this is going to change what appears in this first line. So I'm looking at that going, actually, I don't like that in US dollars because it's making it go onto two lines and it doesn't look as nice. So this is where you might need to play around with it a little bit to make sure that you are happy with it. So I'm going to take away the word price and I'm just going to have US dollars and I'm going to put the price in the actual thing here. So do remember, you got to keep saving at the end of each one. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the monthly membership. So whatever you put in here, you can choose. You just need to go into that code and just update it, save it, make sure that you're happy with what it looks like. So the next part, which I'll show you here because it can be a little bit easy to see, is like the first option. So this part here is all referring to the first option. So this href, this is where this offer is going to, because this particular offer here, when we look at it, this is actually, it looks like it's toggling, and that was what I was asked before, is it toggling between? It looks like it is, but it's not. This is actually URL. So if someone clicks onto monthly, what's going to happen is that's this offer. So you're basically, it's not going to go anywhere because it's the URL for this exact offer. But if they click on the annual, this is actually the URL for the annual offer. So you've got to put the URL into the code so the page knows where that's going to go. So we'll do that next. So we want our offer. So monthly membership. So we're going to do monthly. I think that's what, oh no, this one wasn't monthly membership. This one was pay in full. So we're going to say pay in full and save. And then the amount was $4.97. And this is where, if you were doing the US dollar, not US dollar, you could just put like price and then you could put USD like in here. It depends on how that ends up looking once you've saved it. And, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's what that looks like. So when we save this, we can now see that this one won't say monthly membership anymore. It says pay in full and save, and it's got 497. But we also need to double check that it's going to the right checkout because this was the default checkout that was in the code. So we need to actually go back to our list and we need to come back here to where we had the pay in full. So this was the pay in full offer and the actual URL for that. And back here, we can change this. You could just do what Jodee's done here and just have /offers. I always just do the whole thing just to be sure. All right. And then we've got this image source for the pay in full. Now this is where we want the image for our check button like thing to go. So we're going to come to the image source, the one we want here. Now this one, the one I usually have it set so the checked, like the one with the tick, is the one on the top. So this one is our pay in full. We've got pay in full on top, so I'll have the check on top. So we'll come back to here and get the with check. So this is the URL address, and we'll come into the code here. And so we are replacing from the HTTPS through to the end of the quotation. So we'll delete that and then we'll put our one in here and go, okay, and save. So now we have this checkbox instead. So this is a little one here, and we can see that that is a hyperlink, and that is a link basically back to itself. So that's the first option done. Now we will go to the second option. Although I'm just looking at this and I'm just remembering. See, this is the thing I was a little bit worried about doing it live. I'm just looking at this going, oh, that one is set up to have that at the bottom. I have a feeling I might have customized that when we did it. I think I did. But now I'm like, oh, I'm not sure how to take it off. So we might have to play around so that we make the bottom one the one that's current. But I'll keep going and we'll see how we go. I might have to swap them around. This is why this is a little bit tricky, because you got to update bits in the code. But anyway, I'll carry on, and if I need to change it, so or I can look back at what we did to get rid of that gray box and the bold on there. I think that was in the actual header script settings, but I shall come back. I know the first time that I did this, it took me a couple of hours to get it done. All right, so that is the pay in full and save. We'll set the other one up, and if we need to set them up, I think it's this price section. Actually, we should be able to do it here. We'll make this one the price section active, and this one just price section. Aha. So it's basically making the active section the one on top. Hopefully that will work. I'm a little limited on my coding abilities, but bear with me. Hopefully this will be all right. And hopefully, Jodee, you'll approve of my showing. All right. So the next thing we need is the next offer. So this is for this save 50% with annual membership, but for us, this is for the pay, the 3 pay option. So 3 pay, the URL for the offer. We're going to go and copy that. And again, this is why having these, getting these done first is going to make this a lot easier. So we want to go in between the 2 quotation marks for the offer. I'm going to put our offer in here. The next thing is the image source. So we just want the not checked circle this time, circle only. And then come back here. And this is what we're going to replace this here with. We're going to replace it with our one or your one. And then instead of save 50% with annual membership in here, we're going to go budget friendly 3 payments, or whatever you would like to put. And then in here, we will say 197, and we can say 3 times 197. And again, we will save here, and we'll save, and we'll see this come up, and hopefully, yes, it worked. Hurrah. It made this the top one. Okay. So this one now, then we've got that option where we're seeing this one's the 3 pay. This is the pay in full. Now, when we preview this, I'm going to preview it. So this is the actual live offer. So we can see when we click on here, the pay in full and save, it's basically not going to do anything. It's just going to refresh and come back to the same place. But if we click onto this 3 payments, it's going to take us through to the 3 payments. But on the 3 payments one, we can't go back again because it doesn't look the same. So what we need to do now is go and do the same code, but flip it around and have that same code on the 3 pay. So you need to do the code on both checkouts so that you can basically just perpetually flick back between them. So yeah, so that's checkout number 1 done. So we'll go and do checkout number 2. So please do follow along if you are wanting to do this, so you can do it on your checkout, and then we'll have it all done and it will all be ready. Okay, so one of the easiest things to do, because we've already got some of these things done, and how I have always done it in the past, is once I've done one, it's a lot easier just to go and copy this and then just adjust the URL and the text, because we've already gone, yeah, we want to have it saying choose your pricing option, etc. So we can just copy that into the other offer. So we're going to come back, and my light has just died on me, so I've now probably got some mood lighting. So hope that's okay. So now we're going to come in here and we're going to do the same thing that we just did, edit checkout. And then we're going to come back and do one last little step at the end, and you'll be ready to go. All right, so we're going to come into this design section here so we can get to the checkout description, go into the source code, and we will enter this at the top. Now, when we do this, if we do this exactly the same, what's going to happen is it's going to be highlighting this one as the active, the pay in full, but this is actually the 3 monthly payments. So it doesn't quite make sense to have it that way. So that's where we need to go and swap it around. And if we click on this pay in full and save, it's going to go back to the pay in full, but it's a bit weird having that checked when this is actually the 3. So we want to swap it so that this budget friendly 3 payments is appearing where the check mark is. So we're going to come back into that source code, and we can either do it. There's a couple of ways that we can do it. We can make it so just like before, how I changed this one. So it said price section, and this one says price section active. That way we could do it so you don't need to move anything around, and it'll just put that one on the bottom. But if you did want to have the 3 payments, then we'll need to swap everything around. But we'll just do it this way because it's quite reasonably easy. So what we want to do is we want to swap though the check mark image, because this check mark image now needs to change place with this one. So I'm just going to swap these over, and this is where again having them in a handy place. Also got this very, very handy the single handiest Clipboard History Pro Chrome extension. Remembers everything that you've copied for the last however many things. And so we don't want this one to say empty circle. We want this one to have the check circle. So check in circle, empty circle. Okay, save. So now it's making this one the active one and putting the check. So we have to manually, when you say active just means bold and it has the box around it. To get the check mark, that's where you have to manually change the image. And this is why, there's a few extra little things. That way, or you can come in here and you can actually like swap it so that this comes first. This is active, but the link and the text and everything is going to the 3 payments. That's your other option. You can sort of swap everything around, but this works just as good. And then we'll preview that so you can have a look at how that looks now that both of them are in here. So now we've got this one here, and if we click on pay in full and save, it looks like it's changing, but it's actually going to the opposite, like it's flipping to that other offer. And then when we go budget friendly 3 payments, it's actually going through to the 3 pay offer. So you've got your 2 offers there, and it kind of looks like it's toggling, but it's actually just crossing over between the offers. But there's one last thing though. It's kind of weird having this 197 here or having this 497 here when you've got this. What I usually do here is I update the text here to be talking about the course rather than be talking about the price, because you've got the price mentioned here. So it's kind of a little bit odd having it up there as well, especially when you're saying choose your pricing option. So what I do in this case is, I'm going to save this and we'll come back out, is I actually go to the price text override and I override the price in here. So that's under offer pricing, and we come into edit. And what I do here is add custom price text. And in this one here, in the example that we've got, we use this, just hour of power call. But in this case, we will say, join the Kajabi Play Shops membership today, or something along those lines, but not mentioning the price. And there is no Kajabi Play Shops membership, just so you know. It was just a random course that I made up. I do have that course. The course isn't made up, but there is no membership. And then we're just going to come back into the checkout and we can see what that's going to look like. So it's saying, what action that you want them to take, and then saying choose your pricing option. So it just makes a bit more sense than having the pricing when you've then got the pricing there and then you have the 2 different options. Usually I would recommend putting the pricing because you don't have it displayed elsewhere on this actual, just where you actually put your card details in. But then if we come into the pay in full one, we can see it says $497, and that's kind of a bit odd. Oh, no, we can't because we're not on it. Here we go. So that says $497. But now if we go to this budget friendly 3 payments, we can say it's actually saying, join the membership or whatever micro copy that you want to put there that you feel is really relevant and helpful. So that is it. That is my tutorial for how to implement Jodee's awesome code so that you can have these radio button options on your Kajabi checkout and be able to give people different options. Like I said, whether it's VIP and regular levels for programs, whether it is annual versus monthly membership, whether you want to pay in full or a multi-pay option. One of the options that we use it for here is for book 4 calls or book a single call. That's another option that you can use. So it's kind of like giving people the options right at the point of checkout, even if they have clicked through from somewhere else. And also, it really works well as a price anchoring strategy, like seeing those two different price points there. It can be really, really helpful and a great way to increase the conversions on your checkout. And also, in a lot of cases, it can help people. Maybe they thought they'd go regular and then they see that and they're like, oh, it did look really good. It just gives them that opportunity to be able to go for that other option in a much cleaner way than we've been able to do in the past. So just to recap, in case you missed at the beginning, go to the comments for this video. You'll see the link through to the Kajabi Facebook post where Jodee Peevor from the Kajabi Unlocked Club, she has a fabulous coding membership. She gave some code to the Kajabi community. So all the code is in there. And then this video is basically a step-by-step of how to actually implement it on your website. And if you did want that Canva, whoops, I'll just pop it back up so you can have a look. This Canva template so that you can get icons, so that you've got these icons that look like this, which is pretty cool. And you can then customize them to your own colors. Just put a comment down below. Let me know that you want it and I will give you the link so that you're able to use those as well. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. If you have enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful, I would really love it if you subscribed, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you give us a like or a follow or something. You just will make me do a happy dance. I always get excited. And if you have got something that you would like me to show you how to do in Kajabi, if you've got something that's been bugging you, something that you wish you would see a tutorial, a step-by-step for, going into the details, anything, please do let me know, as I love talking Kajabi, making Kajabi tutorials, and helping you make the most of this awesome platform. Sue from the Unicorn Advisory, I'm signing out. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.